So how did I become an entrepreneur? Um, am I even an entrepreneur or am I still a entrepreneur? These are the kind of things I think about. But I think storytelling is always the best way to go about anything, pretty much. So I did just want to today tell the story of how I got onto this path. I feel like we're is in such a build up of who actually am I. I'm still trying to figure out how to, I guess, sort of explain who I am, how I am as a person. Who is Kelvin Dore? What is this channel all going to be about? I'm still figuring out so much that I'm kind of just going with it because I still need to make the daily videos. I'm just going with the flow at this current time. Nothing is planned, nothing is scheduled. So we'll keep doing it. But yeah, so how did I get started on this path that I'm currently on? I guess you could say I'm an entrepreneur. And what brought this all about? So let's we got to go back to the beginning for this. Firstly, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. Having a stable job or a 9 to 5 never really appealed to me. I just knew I wanted to kind of do my own thing. I knew I wanted to have some level of creativity, and I just wanted to be free. I guess, and that's number one. Freedom was always my number one priority. I didn't really care for anything other than just being able to do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it and who I wanted to do it with. That was like number one for me in all things. So it really starts around, let's say 16, 17. I'm in college, like pre-college if you're from the US, but like college is what we call it in the UK before you go to university. I'm just like, okay, how can I actually make money and change my life, kind of thing. And that obviously leads you down a rabbit hole of so many different things. So I started like going to these trading courses, which turned out to just be like people trying to sell their software. If you're around in the sort of 2014 to 2016 era of finance, you would know about those sorts of things. So then, yeah, so there was trading. I found people online that were doing like signals, got involved in that, lost money, was too emotional of a trader. So if I'd lose a trade, I'd want to like revenge trade. I think I found out the term is for it, even though at the time I was just young and dumb with my money. So yeah, lost money like that. What else? And then just kept going, I guess. Then I actually got involved in buying and selling cars. Now we're talking more closer to university and in between sort of college and university. That was one of the things that I did. And to be fair, that was actually something I was pretty good at. I knew how to get things looking in a certain way, even if they were bad, basically. So, like, I knew where to go to buy certain parts for cars. I knew what to do with it in terms of a valet to make it clean. Like, I basically put myself in the position of a potential buyer and thought, what would they like to see in a car that they come to view that would help them to buy it? So the engine's looking and sounding a certain way. The interior of the car is looking in a certain way as well. The facilities, the amenities, or like the features that the car offers. Can they use Bluetooth? Can they connect their phone and listen to music, space wise? Or I basically knew, okay, this kind of car is for this type of person, so they need this kind of thing because that's what they're in considering. So yeah, that was that. And to be fair, I sold cars for a few years, like just as a side hobby. Whenever I could get something for below average price, I would know, okay, this is worth X. So I buy it. So like, for example, I think one of the last cars I actually sold was like a Vauxhall Astra. I paid about £1,200 for it, including repair costs, and I sold it for 2,000. So like knowing, okay, this kind of car goes for about this price, I can get it for this. The repairs cost this. I can just, do you get what I'm saying? That's kind of what it is, and that's just general business. So like, once you know how to do that, you pretty much know how to do anything in business. Like, you probably just need to be taught how to operate certain things. But in the middle of all this, like I said, I'm still college, university ages. My real desire is to start my own clothing brand. Like, I just wanted to have a very cool clothing brand that people would know about. I would get international customers. I'd be able to work from anywhere, sell stuff, create cool campaigns for the brand, and just build something real, something tangible, something that like people cared about and believed in. Like I wanted to be like a Supreme, but I also like the brand Amlion Door, if you know that one as well. Like I wanted to be a cool hybrid between streetwear and like smart casual is like where I wanted to go, but does that even exist? But then like realistically, I just didn't even have the funds to create something like that. You know, you definitely need a certain level of budget to be able to produce things. Like fashion is an expensive game to do it at the level that I wanted to do it at. So listen, it was cool. I learned so much from a business perspective. I remember, so in the beginning, I thought, okay, once I just build a website, I have my products. I basically spent my entire savings on my first bit of inventory, right? I thought, okay, have the website, have the products, start marketing to the people I know. They will share it with the people they know, and then my brand will blow up and I'll have this cool thing. But on the very first day, we launched and we sold nothing. And like, that was where I got my first taste of business. And it was like, no. Your friends and your family don't really care like that. And like, even if they do care, doesn't mean that they're going to part with their hard-earned money to pay for whatever it is that you're selling. And like, that's such a necessary lesson. I didn't feel no way. I still don't feel no way because nobody owes me anything. And realistically, I'm like the kind of person that's going to flip things on its head and say, why is my product not good enough that they would go and borrow money from anybody they possibly could to pay for what I had? That's basically what I need to create if I want to achieve the goal that I want to achieve. And even worse than that, I was never really consistent with that business. I'd go for maybe 3 months at a time, not get the results I'm looking for, stop it for a bit, for like 6 months, and then come back for 3 months, not get the results I'm looking for, stop it for another 6 months. Do you get what I'm saying? And like that cycle continued for a few years. Until like I did finally really give it a good push, made some money, and then it just never really once again got to the level. But then I also realized like, look, I'm just not that great at this. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't really come up with the best designs. Plus, I think my problem was I was trying to do everything by myself. I really should have started to look at using designers, getting other people's perspective on certain things. Just not trying to do everything. It's not the kind of business you should do on your own. From my personal experience. So great learnings. But then, so I probably ran that business up until about 2022. I'd say I think was the last year about 2022 was when I ran. It's still there now. I've still got sort of all the assets for it and everything, but I'm just not active. I do think I'll relaunch in the future under a different name, probably in a different niche altogether. Like, yeah, we'll just do something completely on a whole nother level because I have gotten the learnings now. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, there's still so much more to learn, but that was that journey. So because of this website though, and this is where like God makes things happen in a certain way. Because of this website, I had to learn about digital marketing. I really looked up to a guy called Reese Wabara who runs a clothing business called Mania Devoir. He used to post like screenshots from his Meta Ads dashboard on Twitter. And like, I'm talking millions of pounds in revenue. I'm like, yo, he is killing it. Surely I can do something like this. But yeah, it was interesting and inspiring to see. And that made me start looking into Meta Ads and like, okay, cool. How can I drive traffic to my website to get people to buy what I'm selling? And that was the journey in itself. I learned about email marketing, which kind of did well for me as well, to be honest with you. Just everything, Google Ads, everything. How can I get people on this website and get them to buy from me? And then in learning that stuff, I'm taking courses, I'm becoming part of forums, I'm in Reddit groups, I'm learning about different things and different ways of advertising, and I'm seeing what other people are doing, and I'm discovering other people in this like online community of how so many different people make different bits of money online. And it's like, it's all so interesting. And still, I'm really just went down the rabbit hole is the best way to say it. But once again, that's because I'd started this business. So in yesterday's video, it's titled Walk the Path, or something like the path reveals itself as you walk it. And this is basically what that, like, this is my life is a true manifestation of that, because if I hadn't started that clothing business, I would not be doing digital marketing now. And the people I've met, the opportunities I've been able to experience, the countries I've been able to visit, the money I've been able to make, none of it would be a reality if not for taking that initial step and walking the path, despite not knowing what the future would look like. So yeah, that's basically that. So I'm still working full time, by the way. So like I'm a I'm a entrepreneur or an intrapreneur. So entrepreneur is when you work for a company, but you're an entrepreneur within that company. But I guess you have to be doing something for the company to technically be an entrepreneur. So I'm basically an entrepreneur. I've got all these ideas and these side hobbies and side hustles, you can call it. But like I wasn't really even making money anyway. A little bit here and there, but like yeah, there was that. So I'm just doing that and I'm still working. I'm in sales jobs, which is like, bro, absolutely grueling. Now I'm just so sick of sales. I don't really enjoy it too much. Like I love the final call with a client where you basically just explain this is what you do. Like closing is no issue. Like yeah, closing is no issue because I've just got so much exposure in doing sales. Do you know what I mean? I can obviously always get better. I'm on a lifetime journey of learning. So there's that. But like sales was grueling, man. Cold calling, speaking to people that aren't interested in what it is that you're selling, but still having to try and pitch them anyway. It wasn't easy. It wasn't fun all the time. And it's like, especially when you know you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to do something else that gives you freedom. It's kind of just holding you back or pulling you down in a certain way. But sometimes it wasn't always bad. Sometimes it was really enjoyable. You meet good people, you do certain things, and it's good in that regard. But so yeah, I'm doing sales and like I'm doing all sorts of jobs. So I worked initially in like a estate agency, which is real estate. I did some stuff in recruitment for a little bit as well. I even worked for like a furniture removals company, which was like one of my best ever paying jobs. It was like small family owned team. They had a contract with one of the biggest office companies in the country. And like, yeah, I made more in that job than any office job prior. Do you get what I'm saying? So some serious money in that. And it kind of like gave me a level of freedom. It showed me that, okay, entrepreneurship is real once again. Like every stage, I'm just learning. I'm just taking notes. I'm just like, how can I apply this to my life to get what it is that I want? Do you know what I mean? So that was sort of how that worked. And then finally, so I'm doing all of the side hustle. I'm running the business. I'm finding out how I can make money on the side and all of that extra stuff. And then my very last ever job that I had, technically I had another job for like 2 weeks after this, but it was kind of just, the decision was already made. I kind of just took it to see and I saw enough. So like my very last job was for a tech startup. I don't know if I should share the name. I probably won't just because don't want to say anything. Everything's in good terms, but like you never just don't want to be disrespectful. So like I'm working for this job and they're essentially a Shopify plugin that allows a store owner to have their own mobile app. And as I said to you, I had my own clothing brand prior. I had experience on Shopify and digital marketing from the ad stuff. So like for a sales guy, I was a great fit for this because I could speak the language of the business owners. So what my strategy was when I was making the cold calls to try and book meetings so that I could speak to people about actually launching their app was, why don't we have a strategy session or a strategy call where I can go over different things you can do to improve your business. And of course, I would slip in having their own mobile app in there within this whole big ecosystem of like the vision we could paint for their businesses. So that was working. Overall, the company wasn't that great, I think, or doing that great. I think they just had like some internal messaging issues. Like things were very unclear. Leadership was a bit poor, especially once the actual sales leader resigned and then someone else came in. But look, I'm not here to diss anyone for any reason. Like that's not the point of this. But like for whatever reason, things weren't going as planned. And like I managed to get a few deals under my belt. Nothing crazy that I'd go to the bank and brag about. But like, you know, a seller's gonna sell, right? It doesn't really matter. And you're just gonna figure it out and make a way. And no one can ever question my activity. And like I put in the work is basically what I'm trying to say. But aside from that, what I also did was gather data from making a ton of cold calls and jumping on meetings with people, and you just get so much insight. I'm already passionate about e-commerce because it's what I'm into, but I'm just learning so much more. So a common objection was, Kelvin, we're not ready for a mobile app just yet. We want to get our website polished and improve our marketing so we're making consistent money, and then we can look into launching a mobile app. And I heard this at least 1,000 times, to the point that it was becoming quite frustrating. I'm like really good at pattern recognition, so I can see the same thing happening over and over again. I'm seeing the exact type of business that is saying this. I'm seeing the type of business that's like, I'm just reading between the lines. I'm seeing the patterns basically. So eventually, my CEO started jumping on calls because deals just weren't being closed, and not because of bad salesmanship, because I think we had a pretty decent team, but like, once again, people weren't ready for a mobile app. They just wanted their websites to be good and their marketing to be like consistent. So I'm on a call with my CEO. I don't actually say anything. I think he's upset with me for not saying anything, but he had this thing of, he would absolutely obliterate them with text. So like, imagine how I'm speaking to the camera now, telling this story, but he's doing that on a sales call, which is just no good. But if I'm honest, I was kind of like a little checked out, because it was like, yo, I'm doing everything possible, it's just not working. And then once again on that call, we heard the same thing. I need to get my website on point and my marketing. And I've said to him after the call, like, look, whatever his name is, we're hearing the same objection over and over again. I've got experience on Shopify. I'm happy for a very small fee to help rebuild someone's website. And then we also have a marketing team that can help with that side of thing. Like, just because if the market's telling you what it wants, all you got to do is give it to it. Do you know what I mean? We don't really have to complicate business. But so yeah, he was like, no, we've got investors, there's red tape, it's not as simple as doing that, there's legals this, there's legals that, which is all fair and reasonable. I can't take that away. It's his business at the end of the day. But I also have to think about myself and what I want to achieve and what I want to do. So after that, I still kind of just went along with things. But in my mind, that sort of idea of like, no, marketing and website design is what people need, it never went away. It never went away, especially because I'm still doing the cold calls and I'm still hearing it. So like, it's just reinforced. So I took it to God in prayer, just being honest. I was like, look, God, this thing is on my mind. The evidence is there that it's going to work. I'm hearing it over and over again. I have no reason not to believe that it's going to work. But I don't want to take the leap. I want to do this with you. I've started so many businesses in the past. I haven't even gone into some of the other things I did, but you can get an idea that I've been grinding for years, or trying to even grind for years. So like, I'm like, God, if I'm going to do this, like, show me that this is the way. Come into this with me. I don't want to do this alone. I failed so many times. I'm sick and tired of it. Like, come into this with me. So I've gotten started, I've gotten started. In the beginning, I remember offering free services to clients. I got like this clothing brand. I was like, bro, you've got a horrible website. Let me redesign it. I didn't say that specifically, but I basically said, let me redesign it for complete free. All I need from you is a testimonial. So did that. He was super happy with the website. It was good. And then from there, I basically was like, it came to the new year and I just left the job. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do this anymore. It doesn't really make sense to. I don't see things progressing within the company, and I have ideas on what I could be doing to better sort of position myself. So in between that though, I did work for another company for 2 weeks, which was, to be honest, a complete joke. So yeah, no sympathy there. They had no idea. And like within a month of me leaving, the whole team was fired. And even in the previous job before that, the tech company, within 6 months of me leaving there, the sales team was fired. So like, for me, that was further reinforcement of like, God wanted me to do this, because no matter where I was going to be in the same position anyway, of having to figure out what I want to do next. But I'd known, because I'd got this data and I took the chance, and then further along the line, I was shown that, yeah, this was the path that you needed to take. And then going along, man, it was tough in the beginning. It was super, super tough. I won't deny that. One, because you're battling yourself and your own motivation. When there's no guaranteed paycheck, there's also no guaranteed reason to do the work. So I struggled with that from like a motivation standpoint. It was difficult. You procrastinate a lot. You worry about this. You worry about that. Things that don't even matter. Like you do anything but the work, like Sam Ovens says. And then eventually I spoke to someone who was based in Dubai and told them, look, this is what I do. If you ever need this service, just let me know. They were like, you know what, funny enough, I'm actually building a team and we need someone with this skill set. What's your number? We start speaking. Within a week from that, we build our first campaigns. And then those campaigns go absolutely insane, like berserk. Results I've never seen before from even the people I learned meta ads from. And so it was like, okay, cool. Maybe we're onto something. Keep building, keep growing, keep running different campaigns, keep just trying to get myself out there, build my network, do the work. Just, you know how it is. Still struggling, by the way. Still not making like good money, but making enough to keep going somehow. I don't even know, but somehow. And I kind of resolved within myself that, look, I'm either going to make this work or I'm going to starve to death. Like, I'm tired of going back and forth, getting a job, then fuck this, I hate this, let me go be an entrepreneur again, and then getting broke and then going back to a job and then like, oh my God, I hate this, I want to be an entrepreneur. And like, I was in that cycle for years. Like, my basically from about 22 to about 27, like 5 years of just in that cycle, getting a job, doing the job, putting in work, getting burnt out and hating it because I want to be an entrepreneur, quitting the job, trying to get into entrepreneurship with some sort of business. It doesn't work out. I fail, I go broke, and then I go back to a job again. Like, I did that over and over again. So like, that's why this time it was like, look, I'm either going to starve to death or I'm going to make this work. There's no going back. And then, yeah, fast forward, I'm working with bigger clients. I'm making a name for myself. I'm getting referrals. Word of mouth is spreading. People are coming to me for this, coming to me for that. I'm just building. I'm still very much on the journey. Like, nothing's been achieved yet. I'm still just growing and growing and growing and trying my best, you know? That's honestly it. But that's where I am at today. I've got multiple clients now for social media marketing. I'm doing a lot of lead gen. I'm looking into some like e-commerce based clients. I never really went down the web design route. It was mainly just marketing that people needed help with. So once again, I give the market what they want. I've worked with big budgets, small budgets. I've done music artists. I've done charities. I've done businesses. I've done all sorts of things at this point. Once again, still very much early into the journey, but thank God for everything I've been able to do so far. And also thank him for the journey in advance. So yeah, that's how I became an entrepreneur, where I'm at now. And we'll obviously continue to go further in depth on certain things and go into the future. But at least you've got my story. Take care, guys. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow.